Hello, hello. Welcome back to Chats and Chapters, where everything is for the stories. If this is our first encounter, I am Caitlin Howarth, book editor, story fanatic, and I am really excited to talk about world building today. Before we get into going over the worksheet that I give everyone that joins the Revision Roadmap program, I wanted to let you know that if you are looking for an extra pair of eyes on your manuscript, the link to work with me is in the description or in the show notes below, depending if you're on YouTube or if you're on the podcast. And if you are still in the drafting phase and you are beginning to think about your self-edits and you're not really sure, the Revision Roadmap program will be open again in June. So stay tuned for the waitlist to open in mid-May, and you can join the waitlist and then get in. So let's get into world building. This is a 9-page worksheet that I include within the Revision Roadmap program because while yes, this is helpful as you're writing, but this is also a useful tool as you're going through revisions if you are noticing that things are just not adding up. Your world isn't fully built out. There are plot holes. There are still questions, all of these things. Like this is, I always say that yes, the program is for revisions, but also all of the resources within there. I think I created like 3 new resources before we started. And so I think we're at like 18 resources or something. And I am like, download them, save all of them, put them on a folder because yes, you can use them for revisions, but you can also use them to plot, outline, brainstorm, start writing your next story. That is the beauty of all of this, is that it is not just one purpose. They are really multi-purpose. So today I want to go over this worksheet because obviously I think the main reason people read books is for the characters. We fall in love with the characters. We love them. We want to be them. We admire them. We see ourselves in them, or, we hate them. We don't see ourselves in them. But either way, we have emotion towards these characters. And that is the biggest thing. And I think right behind that is the world that these characters are living through, that they are growing through, that they are navigating on their journey that you are putting them on. And so having very well-developed characters is incredibly important, and having a very well-developed world is also really important. And this is whether you are having your setting in Manhattan, or that's my dog's name, so she's just like, I heard her in the hallway. Or if you are having a full-blown fantasy or sci-fi world that you are making up. Like either way, it's equally important to have a really solid idea of your world, worldview, all of those kinds of things. So this worksheet is the bread and butter of developing your world and just getting your brain ticking over what is actually needed before you start writing or as you're revising. I want to preface that it is for different genres. So there's contemporary, literary, fiction. You want to focus on social dynamics, culture, and specific locations. Fantasy is going to obviously emphasize magic systems, history, and unique cultural elements. Sci-fi is going to concentrate on technology, future society, and the more scientific principles. Historical, which is research-based and period-accurate details. You're going to want to go in and make sure that the details, if you're writing a historical novel, are as accurate as they need to be for your story. And then you have mystery and thrillers, focuses on locations, social structures, and oftentimes institutions that these people are interacting with. So the first part of this worksheet is the actual physical environment. And I have a video that I will try to remember to link below that I posted on TikTok of the macro approach to the micro approach of world building. And so this is definitely macro to micro, but you can also reverse it and flip it and spin it and whatever else you want to do. So physical environment is going to be the world type. What world are we living in? Is it Is it Earth-based of real locations or fictional locations? Is this an alternate Earth? Are we on a completely different planet? Again, this is obviously going to depend on what genre your book is. And then you want to go a little bit smaller and look at the geographical scale. So is this happening all within an insane asylum, or is it, like I said, happening within a neighborhood within Manhattan, or is it happening within like Brooklyn, a city, a town, a continent, a planet, a galaxy, multiple scales? Like how does that look? Where are the characters going to be traveling to and fro? And then landscape and terrain. What does this world look like? Mountains, hills, forests, deserts, islands. And when you're thinking about this, you really want to think about how maybe this landscape could be a challenge for your characters, or how it could help your characters, because you always want to be tying these things together. The same with climate and weather. If it's tropical, obviously, if you're going to have mountains, you can have Arctic mountains, you can have desert mountains, you can have a lot of rain, magically influenced. Can your character control any of the elements? All of that kind of stuff. How will that play in and tie into it? Within this geographical piece of the puzzle, you also want to think about transportation and communication. If you are more in the sci-fi world and the fantasy world, you might have spaceships obviously connecting. They have really high powered like walkie-talkies or cell phones. And within fantasy, if they have mind-to-mind speaking, that is very common within that. The second part of this worksheet is going to go over cultural elements. So social structure, hierarchy, class systems. How does this look? Is it really rigid? Is it flexible? What are the belief systems and or the religion of the people that are within your world? Is it religion at all? Is it serious religion? If there are religions, what is the major religion or belief that the majority of the people within your world are following? And break that down of how that will look. How will that impact your characters? Does it impact your characters? I suggest it does in one way or the other, obviously. And then part 3 is historical context. And this is where I think we have a lot of fun within fantasy and sci-fi, of like really making the origin stories and the myths of our world really fun and exciting and very rich. We love it. You know, Sarah J. Maas, like we love a solid world to immerse ourselves in and realize that there's always something else to learn right around the corner. We don't know what's going to happen. It's very, very exciting. So you have the creation myth of how people in your world believe that it came to exist. And then you have the historical foundation of what actually happened to create the world and society. And again, think about how this can play into your character and their challenges that they're going to face. If most people believe that the world came to exist in one certain way, but your character, your main character doesn't, and they know the truth, or they were told the truth by an elder, or this, that, and the other, like that is how you bring everything together. So how did the society form? What are the patterns that repeat within the world's history? How do people view historical cycles? What are the lessons that they have learned throughout the years? Are you taking any real world historical events to inspire your story? How can you take that as inspiration and kind of tweak it to be unique to your world, your story, your setting, your characters? Like obviously it's not a problem to take inspiration from things, but how can you just make it a little bit different so that it fits your world better? Part 4 is going to be magic and technology. This is really where we get into obviously fantasy and sci-fi, and there's so many ways that you can go about this. There's so many ways, and that is, I think, what is so exciting and fun about storytelling and being a writer and creating your world and providing this for your readers, is because, like, obviously in some books we have magic being very common, or magic exists but it's really rare, or magic is a secret and it's hidden, and that adds natural conflict. That's going to add natural tension. The same with magic being forbidden. If it's forbidden, that's going to make it even more tense and secretive and raising those stakes naturally because it is forbidden. And then also thinking about, obviously, what is the source of the magic? Is it just an ability? Do they have to learn it? Is it a gift and only certain people have it, certain people don't? Is it a genetic mutation? Is it doing like illegal testing? Like, how does it look? What does the magic do? What can't it do? All of these things, have it broken down and brainstorm ideally before you start writing. But if you're a pantser and you just kind of start going, and when you're going through your revisions and your self-edits, or you get beta reader feedback and maybe there's a little bit of confusion with how your magic system works, you can really go in and ask all these questions and break this down and clear that up. Same thing for your technological system. Is it modern? Are we chilling in this time frame? Is it near future, far future? Is it more apocalyptic? How does that look? Again, how does that technology play into your character's abilities? How does it help them? How does it hurt them? How does that look? And once again, within the technology, that goes back into travel and everything, and how they communicate over long distances, how they travel, all of that. And then lastly on the worksheet is character integration, which we've talked about kind of a little bit throughout the entire thing. So how do your main characters reflect their world's values? Once again, if everyone believes that the world was created in a certain way and they do not believe that, or they know for sure that that's actually wrong, but they're not able to convince anyone, that is a reflection of their world's values. They disagree with the majority of the world, and that is going to impact the story and the way that they move through the world. What world elements do they rebel against? What does the world limit or enable your characters to do? How does that work? And then character backgrounds is obviously going to be, their histories, how they came to their own opinion, what world elements shaped their personalities. Was it seeing that religion degrade their parents? That will shape your characters' personalities and how they see the world and what they do in certain situations. Okay, that is the very short version of the 9 pages of world building that is within the revision roadmap program. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any more questions, because obviously world building is very unique. It's very, it can go either way. I was telling one of the girls within the group, she was asking about having flashbacks or backstory within the first 50 pages. She had seen that that's a big no-no, and I told her, I was like, this is the beauty of writing and being a writer and creating your story, is that if it serves your story, then keep it. If it serves the story, then keep it. If it doesn't serve the story and it just serves your ego, then don't keep it. This is really where within revisions, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. You have to take your writer cap off, take your creator cap off, and put on your critical thinking and think about your story as if it's not your story, which I understand is incredibly difficult. But that is why I created this program, is because you really do need to be able to think about this. Also taking in beta reader feedback, all of that good stuff, but being able to look at your story and decide, this doesn't need to be here, that needs to be here. I need to build out the world a little bit more. I need to tie the plot in with the world building. I need to add the character struggles more into the world building. All of those things can come before you start writing, or as you're going through revisions, if you see any of these things missing. So I hope that you found this episode, this video helpful. If you did, please subscribe, follow, all the things. If you are, like I said, looking for a second pair of eyes for your manuscript, you can learn about working with me in the description or in the show notes below. And then if you found this really helpful and you are thinking that you might need to join the Revision Roadmap program, stay tuned, because the waitlist will be opening in the middle of May. And I am so excited to run this again, to grow it, to have more authors come in and create more resources as they are needed. I just think it's So much fun. I've had such good questions so far. And yeah, I am so excited. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.